Welcome to today's deep dive. We're going to be looking at excerpts from this book, Journey from Heartache to Hope, by Chris Piorkowski.
Oh, okay.
And it's a pretty amazing story about his life with his wife, Lisa, who battled brain cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think their journey together is full of just incredible love and faith and resilience. And I think we can all learn a lot from their experience.
Yeah, definitely. It's a story that really kind of resonates, especially, considering the backdrop of such a serious illness. And
Yeah.
I think Chris, masterfully weaves together this narrative of hope and resilience. And it's inspiring to witness how they faced, their challenges head on.
Yeah, right from the beginning, you get pulled into their story. They had this whirlwind romance, meeting in Germany, having 2 wedding ceremonies, one in New York, one in Berlin.
Wow.
A honeymoon in Crete.
Sounds like a movie.
It does. It sounds like something right out of a movie.
Yeah.
Beneath the surface of this fairy tale beginning, Lisa's illness was always present.
Right.
Even on their honeymoon, she had limited energy because of the treatments she was undergoing. Chris actually mentions in the book that she could only really be out and about for a few hours each day before needing to rest.
Oh, wow.
So it makes you wonder how they managed to navigate that. I mean, celebrating their new marriage, their love, but at the same time, acknowledging this ever-present reality of her condition.
Yeah, that's a tough balance, I imagine, to find that. To try to celebrate, but then also not ignore, what's really going on.
Yeah, it must have been so hard to find that balance, but instead of just ignoring the situation, they chose to, find ways to celebrate their love within the limitations that they were facing. And it really just speaks volumes about their commitment to each other.
Definitely. And amidst all of this, amidst this challenge, their faith emerges as a central theme, throughout the entire book.
Yeah.
Chris refers to specific Bible verses that guided them through their journey, like Luke 18:27, which talks about the possibility of things that seem impossible. And you can just, when you read it, you can really see that these verses weren't just, words on a page to them. These were truly a source of comfort and strength.
Yeah, they took action on them. They found a way to turn those verses into a source of resilience. And he also mentions Isaiah 26:3 about finding peace through faith, and Jeremiah 29:11, which is a really popular verse about, God's plans for us, even when we can't see them clearly.
Yeah, and choosing to focus on those verses, especially, during times of difficulty, suggests a deliberate effort to find hope and meaning in their situation.
Absolutely.
It's really a powerful reminder that sometimes, seeking peace and trusting in a greater plan can really be a source of strength when you're facing the unknown.
And then comes the decision to relocate to Colorado, which was driven by, trying to find better treatment for Lisa at the CNI Medical Center.
Right.
It must have been such a huge decision for them, leaving behind his, pretty successful music career in Berlin to be closer to family and a new medical team.
Yeah, that's a big leap of faith.
Yeah.
And Chris actually describes this period using James 4.13-1.
Oh, wow.
And, in that verse, it really acknowledges, the uncertainty of the future, but also, he understood that they were basically surrendering control and placing their trust in something beyond themselves.
Then what about all the support that they received from the Denver Church of Christ community?
Oh, yeah.
It's heartwarming to read about the Lewis family who opened up their home to them, the fundraising efforts for Lisa's expensive MRIs,
Wow.
all of this. And I thought it was interesting, reading that it sounds like Lisa's past as a Broncos cheerleader and Miss Colorado really played a role in mobilizing this network of support around them.
It really is fascinating where, how interconnected our lives are and how these seemingly fleeting moments from our past can really have such a lasting impact.
Yeah.
The community that Lisa was once a prominent part of then became her support system when she needed it most.
It's the power of human connection.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it really makes you think about how important it is to build and nurture those connections throughout our lives, because you never know when you might need them. But even with all this support, they were still living with this reality of Lisa's terminal illness. And Chris actually describes it as living with a ticking time bomb.
That's such a powerful analogy.
Yeah.
It really captures the constant awareness of, her condition and the weight of knowing that time might be limited. But at the same time, it's a testament to their choice to live, fully in the present and to make each moment count despite that uncertainty.
And it's so interesting because Chris mentions how Lisa was surprisingly joyful during her doctor's visits, which really contrasted with the usual somberness of other patients.
Yeah.
And he attributes it to her faith and her inner strength. But do you think there's like a deeper psychological aspect to her reaction?
I think that's a really valid question.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if Elisa found a way to kind of reframe her experience, maybe focusing on the moments of connection with her doctors, or even, finding gratitude for the care that she was receiving.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a coping mechanism,
Right.
a way to reclaim a sense of control in a situation where she had very little.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really fascinating to think about um, those psychological mechanisms that we use to cope with situations like that. Maybe her joy was a way of kind of protecting herself, like finding those moments of light in a really dark time.
Hmm.
It's certainly inspiring to think that she was able to maintain such a positive outlook.
Yeah, it really speaks to the power of perspective, And I think there's that saying, we can't always choose our circumstances, but we can always choose our attitude.
Right.
And Lisa's story seems to really embody that idea.
Absolutely. But, the book also reveals some of the complexities and challenges that they faced outside of Lisa's illness. Chris actually talks about the strained relationship that they had with Lisa's mother, who had bipolar disorder and was often verbally abusive towards them.
Oh, wow.
And, it makes you realize that they were dealing with multiple layers of difficulty, not just, Lisa's health.
Right. It's a good reminder that life rarely throws just one challenge at a time.
Yeah.
It's often, a complex tapestry of joys and struggles.
Right.
And Chris and Lisa's story really reflects that.
Yeah, and especially, when family dynamic are added into that mix, it just adds a whole other layer of stress to an already challenging situation.
Yeah, for sure.
And it makes you wonder how they navigated those dynamics, especially during holidays like Christmas.
Yeah.
Chris mentions trying to maintain a semblance of peace, but you can tell that it was clearly a source of tension for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a universal struggle, I think. It's like finding that balance between honoring your family ties, but also protecting your own well-being.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like Chris and Lisa were really trying to find that middle ground,
Yeah.
trying to create some kind of normalcy and peace amidst the chaos.
And then, amidst all these challenges, there were also moments of unexpected hope. Like Lisa's cancer stopped growing for a while, exceeding the doctor's initial prognosis.
Wow.
Chris describes witnessing Lisa driving a car for the first time after years, and it was like a symbol of returning to normalcy for them.
It's interesting how much emphasis they put on normalcy.
Right.
It's a reminder that those things that we often take for granted, the simple things become the most precious gifts when we're facing really difficult times.
Yeah.
And Lisa's attempts to return to singing and later, working in cosmetics also, I think, reflect this desire to reclaim a sense of purpose and routine.
Like they were clinging to these, threads of normalcy, these reminders of life before the illness took over.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like music played such a significant role in their journey, not just for Lisa, but for Chris as well.
Yeah.
He talks about, transitioning from this classical clarinet career to playing jazz and eventually finding purpose in playing for those who are nearing the end of their lives.
It's a beautiful example of how our passions can evolve and adapt to our changing circumstances.
Right.
Chris didn't, let the limitations of his previous career define his musical journey, and instead he found these new avenues for his passion.
Yeah.
And ultimately, discovered a very profound sense of purpose in sharing his music with people in need.
And he talks about the joy that he brought to, residents in assisted living centers. He even mentions this moment where a heavily bandaged individual started swaying to his jazz music.
Oh, wow.
And it highlights the power of music to, transcend physical limitations and create a sense of connection.
It really is a testament to the universality of music, its ability to really touch the human soul regardless of circumstance. And it's not just about entertainment. It's about creating a shared experience, a moment of shta, a moment of connection for people who might be facing their own challenges, their own struggles.
And he also shares a pretty moving story about playing for Lisa's best friend's husband who had received a terminal diagnosis.
Oh, wow.
And it seems like that experience had a profound impact on him. Like it changed his perspective on life and death.
It makes you wonder if that if that experience, playing for someone so close to death, kind of served as a catalyst for Chris's shift in focus,
Yeah.
maybe it deepened his empathy, his understanding of the fragility of life,
Right.
and inspired him to use his music as a source of comfort, of solace for others.
That's a really good point. It's almost like that experience helped him connect with the deeper meaning of his music.
Mm-hmm.
Like the power that it has to provide comfort in those difficult times.
And it also raises the question of, how do we find meaning and purpose in the face of suffering,
Right.
both our own and suffering of others? And
Yeah.
I think Chris and Lisa's story offers some really profound insights on this.
Mm.
They chose to embrace each day. They found joy in the simple things, and they used their experiences to bring comfort and inspiration to others.
And let's not forget their bold move to Los Angeles, which was driven by Chris's ambition to, further his film composing career, but also the hope that Lisa could participate in medical trials at UCLA.
Right, right.
It shows their willingness to just keep searching for those possibilities, even in the face of uncertainty.
It's another example of their proactive approach to life, their refusal to be defined by their circumstances.
Yeah.
They were constantly searching, new paths, new avenues for growth and for healing, and that's such a powerful message.
Yeah.
Especially, for those who might be, struggling with their own challenges.
While Lisa's battle with cancer ultimately ends in tragedy, there's so much that we can learn from her. Her spirit, her resilience, her capacity for joy, even when facing unimaginable challenges.
It's a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of times, we have the power to choose how we respond, how we live.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa's story is a testament to the strength of the human spirit.
Yeah.
The power of love and faith to sustain us through really tough times.
It really encourages us to live our lives with intention, with gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
and with a deep appreciation for the precious gift of each new day.
And speaking of new days, their move to Los Angeles really marked a significant new chapter for them.
Yeah.
A new city, new dreams, new challenges.
And despite knowing how, Lisa's journey ultimately ends, there's still so much to uncover about their time in LA.
Right.
How did they navigate this new environment? What triumphs and setbacks did they encounter?
Yeah.
And how did their unwavering faith continue to guide them through it all?
Those are the questions that we'll be exploring as we continue our deep dive into Journey from Heartache to Hope.